On this episode of We're No Damn Experts, Rebecca and Madi talk about the River's Edge Trail, but there's also a ton of other topics like head tattoos, grottos, the Great Falls sign wars, and remembering Piano Pat.
Best damn podcast, the best damn town. You wanna get up, get ready to get down. With its big wide sky and the wild river Tame. If you wanna go, we can take you there to Great Falls, Montana.
Welcome to the greatest damn town in Montana, Great Falls. I'm Rebecca Ingham.
And I'm Madi Hazard.
And we're no damn experts. And today, Madi has crafted a very good episode for you.
And we've crafted a new podcast room once again.
So, on the interior, it's a lot fancier. I'm going to tell you that.
And it seems a lot bigger. We now have a TV in here.
And I can now see when I'm loud, when I'm soft. I can see the little
Sound wave.
moving
wavelengths.
up and down.
Yes. So here we are on Montana's #1 podcast, We're No Damn Experts. And when we first started, we had our first 5 episodes laid out, as you should. And it was an introduction to Great Falls. We told our guests where they can find the falls in the next episode. And then the 2 other episodes were our national parks. So Glacier National Park in Montana, and then the access to Yellowstone National Park, even though it's in Wyoming, get from it from Montana. And then, of course, mermaids.
Sip and Dip Lounge.
Yes. So we did those first 5, but we had the plan to do River's Edge Trail shortly after that.
And we did do the River's Edge Trail. But before we move on, I did want to share with our audience, in those first 5 episodes, we did introduce you to Piano Pat, who is an icon, not just within Great Falls, Montana, but across the world, really.
Yeah.
And she passed away last week.
Yeah, that was hard to hear because I know she was old. And when I was talking with someone else, they're like, I knew she was old, but I still thought she would live forever.
Yeah, and I think that's one of the realities of aging. I mean, it does happen eventually that you'll pass away. But the coolest things about Pat will live on, the stories of all the actions that were had with her. But more importantly, the tribute our community made at 5 o'clock on Friday, which was all the radio stations in town played Sweet Caroline, which was one of Piano Pat's signature songs, and would get the entire lounge singing along during that event.
Goosebumps.
It was awesome. And in addition to that, if you're not following along on Facebook, there is a Great Falls sign war that ensued last week, and it continues to go on. But on Friday, they had tributes to, Thursday and Friday, they've all had tributes to Piano Pat.
Yeah, the sign ward's pretty good because it initially started with the O'Hare Motor Inn and Sip and Dip and the pawn shop across the street. So it's only fitting that they then, pay their tribute to Piano Pat.
Yeah, so there you go. You were planning to come to Great Falls and experience Piano Pat. You're not going to. There will be a new age, a new era at the Sip and Dip Lounge. It'll still be an experience worth having, just not with Piano Pat this time.
You can Google her. She's on her website too if you want to see all the videos out there, because there are tons and tons and tons. The one on Dateline that they shared last week was pretty good too. So, like we said, we mentioned Piano Pat, the Sip and Dip Lounge, all the amazing things for Great Falls that get us initially noticed. But then we have other guests that will come in and say, what's going on by the river? And it's the River's Edge Trail.
And it is an impressive asset that we have. 53 total miles of trail along the banks of the Missouri River, the mighty Missouri River, which is also North America's longest river. And in addition to those 53 miles of trail, portions of it are paved, portions of it are dirt. Some of it is just for walking. Some of it is for walking and biking and rollerblading. And there are some impressive, I think we have an episode talking about the trail certification for portions of the mountain biking trails that are out there.
Yeah, when we talked with both Becky Nelson and Mr. John Juris. I forgot his first name, but I remembered his last. They mentioned the trail, but then when we visited with Kelly Aline, she knew a lot about the mountain bike rating for the trail system because, like everyone says, where else can you go from a city immediately in a city and get on a trail like that?
So a huge gem, public-private partnership. Tested all my P's on the microphone that time. And so it is just a gem for the community. And like Maudie just said, gets you quick access from pretty much anywhere in the community to the trail system. And although portions of it are urban, meaning they're in town, it won't take you long to be out of town, still within a stone's throw of the city, but out of town experiencing all the nature's beauty in the river that's there.
Last week I went on the River's Edge Trail with my daughter, who's now 3. We brought her tricycle, which it doesn't have gears on it, so that means I'm pushing her up a long way. We went on this section for the Giant Springs, I think it's West Road entrance, past the Sacagawea and Lewis and Clark statue.
Okay.
By the Black Eagle Dam, Black Eagle Falls and the dam there. So we went on that part of the trail, and
It seems pretty flat in that part of the trail.
There are some hills, and when the bike doesn't have gears, she eventually got a hang of it. I was like, my back. So we went on that trail, and mind you, it's easy access. There's, 4 parking spots in that immediate area to get on the trail. And we've mentioned this before. You're on the trail, but you feel like you're the only one there. So there I am with my daughter carrying the bike, having her unicorn. She's walking, and we hear the ding, ding. A bike's coming by, and I'm like, oh, yes, we are not the only people on the trail. So you kind of get in that closed mind, like enjoying the space, but you got to keep your wits about you because there are bicyclists and other families that are doing the same as you. But all in all, we had a great time, but we can't take her back to that portion anymore. When we did the photo shoot on the River's Edge Trail during October last year for Snapchat in Canada, saying that we miss them, we still do. We brought Micah with us, and she wanted to climb the wall, the rock ledge.
Ooh.
Because, you're right next to it.
You told her no?
I told her no, because it's straight up. My husband, Mark, on the other hand, is like, sure, let's do this. And she's, 8 months younger then? They go up there, and then they try to get down. Whatever. They did that. So then I take her in the same spot this year, thinking it will be different. As soon as she sees that wall, let's go up.
Yep.
And we had a miniature episode about not climbing the wall because I'm supposed to not only carry the bike, push her up, and then eventually carry her. It didn't work out well, but great time. Went around sunset, so it was really pretty.
Your experience might be vastly different than Maudie's. I've gone on the trail, no bicycle, 3 children, more closer to the fishing pond areas, closer to Giant Springs State Park. And that was a disaster as well for a different reason.
What happened?
My nephew is a storyteller, and I love it. And he has such conviction when he tells his stories.
Come on the podcast.
And so he starts telling me about how this area used to be in the wartime a big dump. And after the war ended, people had to come in and clean all that up. And that's what you see today. And I'm just looking at him like, dude, there was never a war fought here ever.
Oh my.
And all this garbage was there that they had to clean up. Anyway, great story. As he's telling me all about it, and then trying to crawl over the railings into the fish ponds, thinking maybe he'd just, grab fish with his bare hands and take them home and provide for the family that night.
Okay, Tom Hanks.
Not the case. So I'm like, please quit trying to wedge yourself into the railings. Mm-hmm. Stay away from the water. But But I guess it was better than them falling into the Missouri River on the other side. So
Yeah, you pick and choose your battles. That's your war. That's your war.
that's the war.
The
and
war
I cleaned up all the garbage.
So speaking of that spot on the River's Edge Trail going between Lewis and Clark Interpretive Center and Giant Springs State Park, where
Yeah.
they have the miniature fishing access picnic area, that is featured on a new scenic ride for a little famous, I shouldn't say little, for the famous Peloton scenic rides.
How do we know about this?
Well, Rebecca. So last week, funny story. It's a good one. I'm in the reception area where we often greet our in-market guests, and I'm filling up on brochures for a visitor packet. And a man walks in, and he's like, "What's your name?" And I said, "Marty." And he's staring at my name tape, and he's like, "Maricela?" And I'm like, "I go by Marty." "Hi, how are you?" And he's like, "Hi, Bob Kelly. Nice to meet you." And I was like, "Bob Kelly as in the mayor Bob Kelly?" And he's like, "Yeah, that's me." So anyway, good old Mayor Bob and I have 15-minute conversation about life, the world. And then he goes into the office and lets Rebecca know about the awesome customer service from the
FCR, which is a company here in town that handles customer service for a lot of major companies around the world.
So like Peloton.
Yep.
And I guess, well, not guess, we know Mayor told Rebecca they love our call center, that we're really good at the 1-800 Fix My Peloton. Great Falls is amazing at answering these questions.
Of course, just like we're amazing at answering all the questions you have about how to visit our community. Yep, it's in our blood.
So Mayor goes on to say, "Do you guys know what a Peloton is?" And we're like, yes, we do. We are alive. And he says that Peloton, because they liked our representation or community, I guess because Peloton liked our customer service at FCR so much, they added the River's Edge Trail to their scenic rides on their technology that can only be accessed through the Peloton software.
So those of you who have been living under a rock and have no clue what a Peloton bike is, it has a screen that plays back to you.
Wait. A TV side screen. Massive.
Yeah. So we'll call it just a TV. It has a TV installed on the bicycle so that you can pick programs and ride in nature without being in nature. So you could sit in Boston, Mass, and gear up and get ready to ride your bike in Great Falls, Montana, because that's where the ride, you just pick your route and where you want to ride that day, and it shows up. You can also select instructors. So you stare at instructors, pretend you're in a class, and you can do it that way, but it has a visual so that you don't feel alone in your house while you're working out.
I guess that's a good way of explaining it. I want to know that I feel alone in my house when I am alone. I don't want to feel like there's someone else in there.
You know, when I'm at home alone, I want to think there's a million people around me.
Really? To defend you?
Yep.
Okay.
If something happens, I can call on them like, "Hey, I need help stirring the pasta on the stove. Could one of you help out?"
Let the dog back in. Okay. So on this screen, they'll show a ride, and there's 3 types of these scenic rides. And I've been calling it scenic drive since I heard about it last week, just because I'm used to saying that. But there's guided, distance, and then a timed ride. And I believe Great Falls falls under the timed ride, which is about 15 minutes long, and the music on there changes out every day.
Oh.
So while the mayor said that the certain songs that he mentioned were played,
And they weren't good.
I don't remember them.
All I remember is he said they're not good.
Well, they change out every day, so it keeps you coming back.
Oh.
But that portion on the River's Edge Trail is featured on the ride. My friend has a Peloton, Melissa, in D.C. area, who has an awesome house. She just renovated and put a pool in her backyard. I'm like, wow.
Wow.
So I
You
asked,
didn't put a pool in your yard.
Oh, no, I did not. But she's so stylish and, okay, whatever. This isn't that kind of podcast. So Melissa, I tell her, hey, can you check this out on your ride? And she's like, sure, I'll do it this weekend. And then on Instagram, she put on her story. She's like, hi, Maricela Hazard. I'm in Great Falls. And she's riding through, and I can see the Missouri River on the left side, and on the right side is the fishing pond. And they have the little fishing outbouts for it, and it looked beautiful. I think it was either taken in spring or fall because the grass is green, but I see a little bit of foliage changing for the colors.
That might be the perfect time for me.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I'm a big bike rider. I like to go downhill. We've established that a long time ago. And I love fall. So if I get the fall foliage and some green grass, it sounds like the perfect ride for me.
Yeah. So the 15-minute ride, they jump around throughout the River's Edge Trail. Rebecca said it's 53 miles long. I don't think you're biking that in 15 minutes unless there's something I don't know.
Well, I don't think so.
Okay.
And I'm obviously not
no
an
damn expert.
at bike riding, but I don't think you're doing 53 miles in 15 minutes.
Yeah, but the mayor said you jumped around on different parts of the trail.
Yeah.
So what a great way to get a little taste of it. But
just know that when you come to do it in real life, in our community, and you ride the trail yourself, you're going to see things just a little bit differently than Peloton is displaying them to you because they're just sections of the trail that are all pieced together.
Mm-hmm.
So when you do it, it's going to look not the same.
It would probably even look even prettier because I don't know how
And
the
better.
screen transition would be between.
Well, and depending on what time of year, we're thinking a little bit fall. You're not going to get the roar of the falls
No, you're not.
or the spray in your face.
Exactly.
That likely is not going to happen, but it's fun to think it would.
So all these Peloton riders are now tuning into our podcast, right?
They probably were before,
Okay.
and now they're just super excited because now we're talking about Pelotons. Because what Mayor say? Anybody who has a Peloton finds a reason to talk about owning a Peloton.
And then I was like, case in point for this conversation. Nice to meet you, Mayor. So it made me wondering what kind of city this is, Great Falls. And Rebecca, I wanted to tell you this last week, but I was like, I'll just save it for the podcast.
Why do you always do that? Like, I want to know stuff, and then you surprise me, and then I squeal, and I go past the -6, and...
Well, when we did the first recording for Avery about Showdown and the ski lodge, and I was like, I'm doing the introduction, you look at me like, the heck you are. And I did it, and I was like, welcome to the #1 podcast in Montana. And your reaction was perfect. But when we re-recorded it,
Yeah.
you were like, old news. Found that out 2 days ago. What's next? So what kind of city do you think Great Falls is? Do you think it's a place that, say, like people would tattoo on the back of their head?
I don't think I would know anyone who would be up to that, but...
So I'm at the gym last week. I'm in line to use the fill your water bottle up. 6 feet behind, okay? The guy has a
Waiting.
baseball hat on, filling up his water bottle. And I'm like, what is on the back of his head? Like, what tattoo is that? Because he has so many tattoos. And I see it, and it says Great Falls. And it's in the similar font as the mural, the one that just went up in Arts Fest 2020.
Really?
Almost exact same font. So I am lit up like a Christmas tree. Like,
I want to talk to you about your tattoo on your head.
so I'm smiling like from ear to ear, like, how cool is this? If I had my work phone on me, I would have messaged you at that time. Thankfully I did it, but I was like, Rebecca, this guy has a Great Falls tattooed on the back of his head. And so he turns around and I'm all like, geez.
He's like, why is this chick grinning at me so hard?
So he's all like trying to like, hi. And I'm like, nope, like got my earphones and I'm going to leave me alone. But I mean, he was like, why is this woman smiling at me this much?
You could have said, hey, love your Great Falls head tattoo. We'd love to have you on our podcast and have you explain to us what possessed you to do this.
Next time I see him, I will let you know, okay? Or let him know.
If you could gauge how he'd be in an interview, it'd be fun to have him on the podcast.
Yeah. Just as going to be part of our story segment. Like, hey, so.
What happened here? As long as it's positive, because it would be miserable if he like lost a bet and had to get it tattooed on his head. And I've heard things like that happen, but.
Who's going to say put Great Falls on the back of your head as a dare? I mean.
I wouldn't think anyone would, but I also wouldn't have ever thought anybody would have gotten the name tattooed on the back of their head. I could see it,
Pride.
you know.
Community pride, Rebecca.
On your chest above your heart.
Okay. On your heart?
Yeah.
I love mom tattoo, but Great Falls in the middle.
Right. These would be all acceptable. State outline with the heart on the Great Falls location.
That's
Great
just
Falls.
overdone.
No, I think it's perfect. That'd be great, like across your back.
You can
shoulders.
get it then. I'll be there to watch.
We'll tattoo it, or we'll do it live on the podcast. You can tune in for that.
So if you're new, this is the kind of city that Great Falls is. That we
Just
have
so much emotion that just comes out, and you just say, "I need a tattoo of this town."
on my head. So
Isn't there a country song like tattoos on this town? I'm thinking Jason Aldean something.
I've heard it came out like probably 15 years ago.
Really?
Yeah. Like tattoos on this town.
It's the same song I'm thinking of, but I think it was pretty new.
Or there's the Old Dominion. Are we written in sand? Or are we written in tattoos, or is it ink? A lot of country songs.
Yeah.
I think it would take a while to dig through the archives.
But obviously not good enough for us to remember every portion of it.
No, but then again.
We're no damn experts. We started the podcast that way.
So we're redoing the River's Edge Trail because we last did it, and it was a really short episode that we released during Christmas because we're like, hey, people really...
It's Christmas.
It's Christmas. It was only, 25, 30 minutes?
Which might be good for some of you. Some of you want a little bit more of us.
But then, remember when you shared with me your favorite podcast, My Favorite Murder?
Yeah.
And the audio quality from the first...
Oh, yeah.
to the, 200th?
Yeah. And I can only assume all podcasts go through this growth cycle, I'll call it.
Some of them don't.
They just stay crappy.
Or they start off amazing.
Oh.
So Rebecca plays this to me. I'm like, wow, different quality. So I start off on a later episode. I skipped the first few because I was like, I don't want to listen to that. So I'm assuming listeners probably did the same to our earlier episodes. They might be like, well...
You didn't sound like Audible Chocolate. We're not going to listen to it. It's just, it's killing us.
Or I'm using my earpods right now, and I would rather listen to this in a stereo, like not in my ear. So,
which I would get, because those first couple episodes
were rough.
Hey, we launched a podcast. We are not producers. We've not done this for a living. We're nearly experts now, mostly because we hired somebody to help us with that. But
I mean, look at these curtains that are hung up. It's silent in this room.
Yeah, it is deafening the instant you walk in here, which is pretty impressive.
Yeah. So now that you're back with us in our amazing quality, we mentioned that the River's Edge Trail, 53 miles long, you can access all the falls on it. There's the Giant Spring State Park.
There's 27 works of art all along the trail.
Which we coined as the, what's it called again? The phrase we use for the art outside?
Environmental art.
Environmental art. So you can hunt for that along the trail.
We have a digital pass you can download that'll take you to each one of these pieces of art, and you can check in at it and be proud that you did that.
And I want to share that there's this community, this closed group called Great Falls Rocks.
Oh, yeah.
And like other communities, they take small rocks and they paint them. And the trail is one of the best spots to find these rocks hidden along it. And it's great to see. I always find probably 2 or 3 if I walk at least a mile.
We meaning Maudie, contributed to the Great Falls rocks that exist along the trail and throughout the community last year during COVID.
Yeah, we wanted to give something for people to do outside, and we hid them all along the trail. We did it at the caboose. We had a little kit that had some rocks in it. I don't know why I included rocks in it. Now that I look back, 3 different types of paint, some Mod Podge, and brushes that people could paint. And then we went on our Instagram Live and Facebook Live and said where people could find them. And then we were like tagged all over and we're looking for these kits. And people loved it. And it was a great little thing to do. And I wish I would still do some of those rocks because I need to replace some that my daughter has just thrown in the river.
Oh,
She didn't like it. She tossed it overboard.
well, some art isn't for everyone, I suppose.
So the River's Edge Trail, you can walk it, hike it, but biking is one of the best ways to enjoy it. And while you may do your scenic ride on a Peloton bike, one of our recommendations is from the Ryan Dam Overlook scenic area, that stretch. And why do I say that? Because you can get to Box Elder Creek from there.
Yeah. Have you done it? Did you guys do it yet?
No, I'm just doing...
It's going to be an undertaking, just so you know. It's not that we don't want to see it, listeners.
It's just the timing of it. And we have this amazing Great Falls champion. I don't know if he's a champion, if he knows he is or not. But
We've coined you. You'll get the plaid jacket in the mail.
So he often tags us in his photos, because we ask our followers to do that on Instagram, of his views from his bike rides on the trail. And he tagged us.
Yeah.
And it's the frozen waterfall that's like in a, what is it called, that area? It's like enclosed off. The river or the little stream was frozen.
It's like a canyon, hidden cave, exposed cave.
It starts with a G, the word I'm thinking of. So Chance tags us in this magnificent photo, and I message him immediately. Where did you take this photo? He's like, it's Box Elder Creek on the River's Edge Trail. No. Where? I need coordinates now. And then we dig on our maps that we have.
He never told us in the beginning River's Edge Trail, and you come out and you said, where's Box Elder Creek? I'm like,
No idea.
I don't have a clue.
Oh, it turns out it's number 37 on our map.
After we went to the state highway map, I'm like, maybe it's over here, like just, an hour and a half north of Great Falls.
No.
No, it's on the River's Edge Trail.
I'm not sure why we didn't look at our brochure, but they have a picture of it, but it's not as magnificent as the one he took.
No.
And I wanted that photo in larger resolution so we could just plaster it everywhere. But it was one of the most shared, saved, commented on, liked posts because it was just simply breathtaking. And it was taken in the winter.
Which some of you might just be getting giddy now because you're like, summer's coming and it should be spring in Great Falls. And it is certainly spring in Great Falls, which means we got snow yesterday. We got rain Saturday. It's 30 degrees outside today.
And the grass is so green.
It is definitely spring. But maybe you're just waiting for summer. Don't.
No.
Come every season to Great Falls because what you're going to experience is what you're going to see is so different each time.
Yeah, and it just goes to, reiterate that no matter the season, you can still enjoy the River's Edge Trail and what it has on there. It's an all-season adventure.
But maybe you say, I want to be there for some specific events. You should. Like the Luminaria Walk.
Yes, coming September 2021.
And that's where you'll get to walk portions of the trail kind of at dusk. And they've got bags with candles in them lit up to illuminate your path. There's also the Beyond the Dam bike ride, which uses the River's Edge Trail. And one time a year where you get to cross a dam.
Yes.
And utilize both sides of the river for your ride.
Oh, yeah, we had a guest in last week, and I was telling them about, on the Beyond the Dam, you can walk, or you can ride your bike across it. And like, can you walk across it? And I said, my boss said that. Just got to wait towards the end, okay?
Yeah.
You got to make sure it's okay, but go on there and you can walk because I'm probably not going to bike it.
No. Then you can also utilize the River's Edge Trail as part of the Lewis and Clark Festival, which is not happening until
July. So it hasn't officially been released, but things are in the work. We're looking for the beginning part of July.
So there are events that happen all along the trail. It becomes, there's no one good spot. There's spots all over.
Mm-hmm.
And you've got 2 disc golf courses that are on the River's Edge Trail as well. One on the West Bank side and one up where will be our new base camp in Overlook Park.
So Overlook Park is busy at the disc golf course.
Yeah.
Because probably for the past 2 weeks, every time I leave work, I stare up at it and people are playing.
It's a big deal.
I didn't know it was.
Yeah.
I mean, I knew we were, but I didn't know disc golf was.
Disc golf and our courses are a super big deal.
Well, like I said before, if I'm not good at something within the third try, I'm not doing it.
I might be really good at disc golf. I suck at regular golf.
I'm not good at golf, and I'm not good at throwing a frisbee.
Well, I think I'm pretty good at a frisbee. Oh, my niece is really good at throwing a discus. So I'm pretty sure there's some genetics in me that'll make that work really well.
What if your niece got it from the parent that's not related in your blood?
That could be. I'm not going to rule that out because her aunt on her mom's side is super good at track, but I'm just hopeful.
Okay.
That maybe there's some of my genetics that are good at something in her.
So when we move up to 15 Overlook Drive, we're going to have to do a game of disc golf.
Yeah, on our lunch break.
If not, we'll just have to pretty much be amazing at the cornhole boards we'll have set up there.
You bet.
Because...
Which we're not real good at that either, but we can practice at lunch.
We can practice.
And the big thing is if you show up at 15 Overlook Drive and you see the note on the door that says, hey, we're playing disc golf for lunch, come join us.
Yeah, you can school.
Just be prepared.
So some other fun events that they've been having on the trail more recently is they have been having book readings at different parts of it. Like at Gibson Park this weekend, they'll have another one where portions of a book are read from local students. I think it's a recording, so you can go there and at your own time. And so there's
that sounds like a really neat thing.
There's all these little neat things that are happening. And there's going to be a snake event next week too. Like this weekend by the time I release it.
Did you say snake?
Snake. Someone's going to come in and say, these are the snakes of Montana and what you can find in the area.
Is Norma Ashby Smith going to be there?
Norma, she's like, no.
I hope she's covering that.
If you don't know what we're talking about, you need to reference our Western Art Week episode that we had in March, and we'll link that to it because poor Norma.
It was a good episode.
I mean, it got good in front of her. Goodness. So they're going to have that at Giant Springs State Park. They're going to have a little snake event. I'm going to take Micah to it.
Well, why not? Learn about snakes and get up and close and somewhat personal with them to reduce that fear just a little bit so you know a little bit more about them.
When we were in Australia, we went to this one petting zoo. Wasn't a petting zoo, but I guess a animal place. And they were showing us the snakes of Australia. And they're the deadliest snakes in the world.
Oh, nice.
And they're like, if you got bit by this one, no use in calling an ambulance. You're gone. And I'm like, why is this thing here now? Why isn't there like some glass between us?
Step back a few more steps.
Yes. So rattlesnakes are what we have. But, I mean, you can get a vaccine or your dogs can get treated for it.
And bull snakes they eat mice. And that's good. And then we have...
I don't know what else.
Garter snakes.
Everyone has those.
And they're nothing.
Yeah.
They're just disgusting. I don't like snakes at all.
I mean, I'm not scared of them. I don't want to die. I mean,
I will squeal and run away from them.
You don't live this long without having a healthy fear of snakes.
Or mice. Or rats.
As viewers know, I used to live in Louisiana, and one day when we were working, a snake fell from the ceiling. I'm not kidding, like drop ceiling like this. So at least we're not in that kind of snake environment. So when people ask, are there snakes? If you're coming from like down south or Australia, no, not to what you think. But, you know.
They're gonna be around sometimes.
By the time this is airing, guess what else is open that just opened on Mother's Day?
The suspension bridge to Ryan Island Park.
Just opened yesterday on Mother's Day.
And it'll stay open until Labor Day.
And I'm going there this week.
Oh.
I'm so excited.
Well, and the falls are falling amazingly at this time.
Yeah.
Because we've gotten water and snow all weekend. And so the runoff from mountains just makes that even better. So now is the time. You've got a sweet window until about the middle to end of June.
Okay. Yeah. That's when they roar. And if you go to the Black Eagle Falls, that's the closest you can get if you go to Memorial Island, right?
Yep.
And then that's when, your hair will get wet.
Yep. That is the closest you can get to any of the falls. But the Great Falls, you're not that far away. So it's not that big of a distance difference, but you're definitely going to notice when you're at Black Eagle how much closer you are to the water.
You know when you buy a TV and you're like, is this TV too big for my room? And you go to Sony or whatever place you buy. And they're like, enter in where your couch is and how far your couch is from the TV. This is the size that you should have, unless you're going to be like having your head back or need to be forward. I think that is what is for Ryan Dam and the Great Falls. It's a perfect vantage point where you can still see it.
Yep.
All in one, well, a little bit of head turning. So that's what Sony did.
They came to the falls. They said, this is the perfect distance, and we will make everything from there sizable.
Or maybe they just consulted Northwestern Energy.
I can imagine that call was good.
Hey guys, it's Northwestern Energy. Want to know where to put this bridge? Based on your TV standards, we're looking for the best viewpoints. And Sony's like, we'll be right over. We're going to fix it.
We know.
Because they said, hey, at Black Eagle Falls,
we got a little
close.
too close.
so those are the two ones where you can see, I guess, more at ground level. But the Rainbow Dam and the Crooked Falls, those are more of a higher vantage point. I haven't taken the trails lower down to see them.
I haven't either.
But I've seen some tag photos.
I've been on the other side of the river from Crooked Falls.
Oh.
But you're not very close there either, so.
Okay.
I have no value to add to this conversation.
So near Rainbow Overlook, the parking lot up to it, the Lewis and Clark parking lot, once you enter there, that's where you can have your dogs off leash. So if you guys do have your pups, keep them on leash otherwise, but there they can run around and get a little muddy.
Get excited.
Get a little muddy if it just rained, just like my dogs did.
Perfect.
It's
So River's Edge Trail, huge feature of our city, a wonderful feature of our city, always adding new art, always adding new installation. And one of the biggest things is it is adding an extension to the trail system that's going to make it even better. But we're just alluding to that because we're going to bring an expert in to talk about it when we get closer to unveiling that extension.
okay, because I saw that in the news. Super excited. But for things that are released, there's an octopus on there if you haven't caught note, and then the Circle of Giving.
Yeah. Did we put that on our Facebook page?
We did put the video on our Facebook.
Yeah.
We did a glimpse, and it showed the grizzly bear and the Missouri River, which we call the Mighty Mo. If you don't know what the Mighty Mo is, just had a guest in from Wisconsin, and I said, oh, Mighty Mo Brewing Company, that's where you can find a beer. And she's like, Mighty Mo? And I'm like, Missouri. Abbreviation is Mo. So Mighty Mo. She's like, clever. so that's what we refer to it.
We thought of it all by ourselves. Well done, Seth and Casey.
Exactly. You get all these like local verbiage where you don't know it's your dialect or whatever local saying, and you're like, son of a gun, I have to explain. This is common sense after a year of living here.
Yeah, it's oftentimes where our guests will check us and make us remember that we get stuck in our own little world, and we so appreciate that because the first time it happened to me, I was talking about First People's Buffalo Jump in Chicago. They're like, what's a buffalo jump? And then I was like, oh, you don't know anything about this.
When I tell people about it, we had guests in here last week, and they're like, what's a buffalo jump? And I'm like, let me get the brochure so you can see the picture. It's beautiful, but this is what they did. And then I said, and then one of the Indians would run off the cliff with them. Onto a safe ledge that they knew was there. Not guaranteed it's going to stay safe.
Because you got bison following behind you, falling down.
So is it buffalo or bison?
You know, I'm sticking with bison. I have had people research things and said it is bison.
But we're not going to change.
The buffalo jump.
No. Or the great buffalo hunt. Or the great buffalo hunt.
No.
We had a gentleman call today, and he wanted to know about First People's Buffalo Jump and where he could buy buffalo gifts and anything else we had in Buffalo. So I sent him the Great Buffalo Hunt, and
Yeah.
he's going to get all that information. So when you're along the River's Edge Trail throughout the city, you're going to see these buffaloes around, and they're not alive per se, just
They're
alive.
roaming. They're alive with spirit.
We found a roaming one, by the way.
Oh.
So Friday, while I'm reorganizing the podcast studio, and I'm in some athleisure clothes, still have my name tape. I apologize to the woman. I have filing cabinets out. I said, I apologize for not wearing professional clothes right now, but if you can see, I'm moving some things. And she's like, no worry. But you say a buffalo's roaming, and it's not. Here's the location. And it was Tanicus.
Okay.
And it said on our website it's roaming, and it was at a private resident. But she said she knows where it is, and it is inside the Paris Gibson Alternative School.
Oh.
And it's indoors. So she gave me the address, and so now people know where to find it during their buffalo hunt.
Did she also give us a picture?
I asked her for a picture, and she said, well, you could just have a photographer go out there and take it. I was like,
If we only knew one.
yeah, add it to my to-do list. But I was happy that she came in, but we weren't on the same page at first. I was like, if it's roaming, it means we don't have the picture, but we have the address. And she's like, the address is wrong. I'm like, sure about that? But she said that a family donated it, and now it's there.
Well, now just makes that adventure so much sweeter.
Yeah, so I just have to update our Great Buffalo Hunt PDF. It's on our website, but the website listing on the page, not the printout, is good to go. So on the River's Edge Trail, you'll see Rebecca and I's favorite, because we agree, we have the same.
Yeah, rain buffalo.
Yes, and whenever I drive by it, my daughter's like,
I like virtually
What is
high
that?
five rain buffalo every time I see him. I'm like, yeah, you got it, pal.
you're going good.
But not all the buffalo on the hunt are on the River's Edge Trail, so just be prepared for that.
But plenty of other artists. So welcome to the podcast, and welcome to Great Falls, all of our Peloton riders. If you've done the 15-minute ride,
Tell us about it.
take us on your Instagram story at Visit Great Falls. Send us a message. Email us, podcast@visitgreatfalls.org. I want to know how these transitions go.
You may just have to buy a Peloton.
If only my work would do it, and we could have it here in the lobby. And when we're like, someone asks, what's the River's Edge Trail? And I could say, here, hop on this bike. Because they're like, well, I don't know if I want to rent a bike to do it myself. I need a introduction. Put it in the budget.
Yeah, it's not going in the budget because we want you to experience it firsthand.
Okay. Well, we could do like sabotage guerrilla marketing and just set up Pelotons throughout the U.S. that only have Great Falls on it.
We're going to add a bunch more Great Falls video-based riding so that all you get is a Great Falls bike.
And then all of a sudden, Great Falls shows up with 100 Pelotons from every other city.
We got you.
That would be a nice, it would be, instead of a sign war, it would be,
Peloton War.
all right, so if you don't know where the sign wars are, that's hashtag GF Sign Wars. That's on social media. And you can see the tributes for Piano Pat, We'll Miss You Dearly, and all of our fun, quirky businesses that are going one off another, because it's a trail. You can't just read one.
Yep. Nope. You got to follow the whole path, and it changes daily. And it's definitely something fun to see, and just a sense of community pride, which is prevalent everywhere you go in Great Falls, but now you get to see it.
Especially on some people's heads.
Yeah.
So
I can't wait till you get the picture of this so we can post it.
what am I going to do?
You're just going to say, hey, I work for Great Falls, Montana Tourism. I am ecstatic. You love our community so much. You got a tattoo on your head. Can I take a picture of the tattoo? Can I take a picture of you? And will you come be on our podcast?
Okay, we'll see. But I'm not going to just sneak a picture of someone at the gym. It's like I initially wanted to do that, be like incognito, but I'm like, I'm going to end up on the news.
Weird woman at the gym takes photos of people.
And then the worst case scenario is this guy like then lifts off his shirt and he's like, look what else I have.
Yeah, didn't want to see that much.
So and it's all just Great Falls. That would be
That would be awesome.
You can interview him, Rebecca.
We've got a sweatshirt here for you. It's no longer on the art, so there you go.
Yeah, now we have the podcast with the floor to ceiling, ceiling to floor curtains, and our fancy getup here. So
yeah.
We're professionals.
We are up in the game.
So if you want more information about the River's Edge Trail and our community, we just wanted to, reintroduce what we have here and how we're excited about summer coming up, but that you can still have awesome views of Box Elder Creek in the winter. The fall with all the trees around Black Eagle Falls. Well, fall and fall, come on. But we want you out here enjoying the River's Edge Trail and Great Falls.
So if you need any help planning, as always, get in touch with us, 406-761-4436, the only podcast with a phone number you can call into, which I think is fun. And until we see your bright, smiling, happy face here in Great Falls, we hope you're creating amazing memories with your family.
Bye-bye.
We're No Dam Experts is the recorded claims from Great Falls, Montana, covering what you need to know about this amazing damn town. Damn, that felt good.
On the next episode of We're No Dam Experts, Maddie and Rebecca tell you 10 things you need to know to enjoy Great Falls this summer. We're No Dam Experts is produced by Great Falls, Montana Tourism, with original music by the best damn musician, Joel Corda.